I didn't finish my concern about the lack of logic in everyone's life today.
Lack of logic. It's vexing, Drew. It is all encompassing these days.
Yeah.
And it's also really weird. I've never been comfortable having a conversation where I've sort of ended it with, well, I know what I know. Or that's how I feel, or something like that.
Or if you raise a logical point of discussion, that it's just brushed aside. No, it's not it. It's forming an agenda. It's promoting an agenda. It's
we're getting to the place. Although we've been there for a little while. I don't know why I was thinking about kids and school breakfast. It always drives me nuts. It's super symbolic, but.
Yeah.
The folks from the Young Turks show sort of tore me a new asshole for saying I don't want kids. You feed them. Mama feeds them.
And what was their issue?
I don't like kids. But it's the funny thing is when they're playing the clips of me saying it's not about the money. I don't care about paying for the kid.
Yeah.
I care about you wanting to do it.
Yeah.
Then they come back and they go, Adam Carolla's too cheap to pay for your kids. Yeah. It's like, well, I was super clear in what I said.
Yeah.
I said it wasn't about the money. Why? The thing that I'm finding interested in, the thing I'm finding interesting about our new world order is you didn't even hear what I just said.
Yeah, they don't listen. I've gotten way past not listening. I'm so accustomed to that. It's ridiculous. And so, and by the way, I've noticed that when people accuse me of something because they didn't listen, and I will say fake news to them, that shuts them up for the most part. It's interesting.
It's kind of a weird. It's an interesting. All of the allegations are pretty interesting about not liking kids or being scared of people that look different than you from different countries or something. It's if true. It would make you into one of the worst people ever, right?
And how would you function? It'd be weird, right? You'd be like,
well, I got kids at home, and they got a lot of friends.
You wouldn't even be able to deal with that. You have to sit in your office.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. Continue.
I was just saying that I shut somebody up with fake news. I love the response when you really just go, hey, this is not what was happening. They go, yeah, well, go fuck yourself. That's the response. That's the response. Go fuck yourself. It's like, oh my God, this is the funniest thing in the world. But the lack of logic. So when you try to, even if you're going to talk about feelings and beliefs and attitudes and not talk about facts, you still have to have logically consistent conversation. You have to be logically consistent in your thinking.
When I was...
And I don't think people know what that is anymore even.
When I was young, the only people that were allowed to not use logic, have logic, employ logic were religious people. They'd go, because it is written. Or, because the all-knowing one, tells us it is.
Well, no, they would go, that's the point. It's to have faith. And it doesn't make sense. Therefore, the faith is that much more difficult to achieve. That's when faith is really at its peak.
Right. The thing that I now find funny as I listen, I now find myself listening to guys like Dennis Prager, the most religious people in the world, going, oh, that guy makes it totally logical what he's saying. Like, I find it funny that the folks that are essentially atheists, and I include myself in that group, the folks that are the atheists are the ones that are making the least sense in terms of the following the logic trail. Which is an interesting turnaround because atheists are just non-religious people. Or, look, I don't know what Don Lemon's religious persuasion is. I'll just assume he's not a born-again Christian. He says things that don't make sense. And, he just announces the president's a racist. And it's like, but he is, and many folks are non-religious. And when I grew up, if you were non-religious, you had to have all your points in order. If you were religious, you could go just I know what I know.
That's what
I'm
I
going
believe.
on faith.
Yeah.
I go, can't take that away from me.
Yeah,
I know what I know.
Yeah.
You know, now it's kind of turned about, and that the religious people seem to be a little more focused,
More logical, more interested in arguments.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to anybody get into it with the very religious Ben Shapiro, you will hear a wave of logic coming one direction and a wave of I know what I know and I feel how I feel coming the other direction. Now, you can agree or disagree with Ben Shapiro, but what's not up for negotiation is he's not throwing tons of information and logic your direction.
So
you can defeat it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean he's reaching into a bag filled with numbers and statistics and logic and throwing it your way. I'm not saying you can't win the argument, but you're reaching for a magical bag that Doug Henning used to wear in 1979 and throwing pixie dust back. What I'm saying is reach in the information bag, throw it back, and win the argument. Can't reach into the feelings bag.
Getting Rip Taylor's confetti bag.
Woo!